What's going on, socialites? I'm Alexis Joy with Hollywood Unlocked, and we are joined by Khrissy. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. So you're an LA native, Crenshaw district to be exact.
Thank you for getting it right. That's so important. Thank you.
Yes, because I know LA people, they're like, no, hold on. LA is so big. There's so many places you can be from.
Yes.
So tell us about growing up in the Crenshaw district. What is important to you about living in specifically the Crenshaw district?
You know, it's interesting because, as I would say, more maybe from maybe birth to like 10 years old, I moved around a lot.
Okay.
I even lived in like San Bernardino, West Covina. My mom was married at that time, not to my father, but she remarried after my dad. And it was just, at that time, it was just kind of an unstable relationship. I'm just going to be very transparent about it. And she's cool with it too. But it was just kind of unstable. So we moved around a lot.
Okay.
My grandmother has always been, my grandmother owns a home in the Crenshaw district, has been here since 72.
Wow.
So shout out to Granny.
Right. Shout out to the grandmas.
Granny has been here since 72. So, you know, her house, everybody knows where grandma lives. She's in like the heart of the district. So that's why I kind of base myself and consider myself, you know, always being born and raised in a part of the community of the Crenshaw district, because I've always,
that's
you know,
where your roots lie.
It's my roots lie.
Yeah,
you know, grandma's house is grandma's house.
Yeah.
So, and then of course getting older, I went to Crenshaw High School.
Okay.
I went to Crenshaw High School. I went to Overripe Middle School, which is in Westchester. But then went to Crenshaw High School, went there all 4 years. And it's kind of where I feel like I established myself as an individual.
Right, okay.
You know, back then when I was kind of growing up, I would say I went to school between the years of 99, 2003 at Crenshaw. It was rough. Wow. It was really rough. And to know LA, you know, it's just certain pockets, you know, we have gang violence and we have certain just elements of LA that kind of make it LA.
Yeah. Which is like, without it wouldn't necessarily be LA.
But I've experienced and seen so much just with my own eyes, you know, but I love my neighborhood. I love my community. As you know, the late great Nipsey Hussle is also from the Crenshaw district. You know, I remember seeing Nipsey on Crenshaw and Slauson. You know, Slauson Tees was before the Marathon store.
Yes.
If you know Slauson Tees, that was his store before the Marathon clothing store.
Still in the same little
and that's where that's his foundation. And I mean, it's just it's so community. We love each other. We take care of each other. Yeah. I you know, without, you know, elaborating too much, but it's just home for me. It's just so hard to explain, but it's just home for me. Always has been. I love my neighborhood. I love my community, and it's just the same people. You're gonna always see the same people from your elders, and even like the people that I were growing up with, they're still around. You still see the same people, you know. So Simply Wholesome is a landmark. You know, you'll still see the same people coming in and out of Simply.
Wow.
So it's just home for me.
Yeah. And LA is so big, but it's also so small. I mean, even touching on community, like, there's no other community like the LA community.
Absolutely.
And me not being from LA, seeing that, it's like LA's so close knit.
Yeah.
And people, of course, who live out of state don't realize that.
They don't. They don't. And we were just talking about that too. Like, it's Inglewood, like all the communities are so clustered together, you know, it's like, it's Hollywood, and then there's Mid-City, and then you get into LA, South Central, and then just a little block over could be Inglewood, and then you got Culver City over here, but it's like all within a 30-minute radius. Yeah. You're hitting like so many different neighborhoods.
Right, so. Where like other parts of California, it's like you drive like 5 minutes and you're in another city, and then 5 minutes in another city. People don't realize that. And that's all over California.
Right.
Now, how would you say that growing up really influenced you to get it and spark an interest in music?
I've always, it's just one, and this might sound so cliche, but I've known from like the jump that this is kind of what I wanted to do. I grew up watching 106 in Park. Like, growing up for me, it was all about Free AJ. And then like on the VH1 MTV side, there was Ananda Lewis and Lala. If you remember, Lala was, people forget that Lala started as like a VJ.
Oh yeah.
She started as a VJ. So I grew up watching them, and I don't know what it was, but I was like, I want to do that. I've always been into hip hop and music. So my uncle used to babysit me. Okay. So he went to school in New York and kind of spent a lot of years in New York. So I first established my love for hip hop was East Coast music. A lot of people always have a flavor like, what? I hate to say this, but Big is my favorite rapper.
Yes, and there's a huge difference between East Coast and West Coast music.
But I grew up listening. That was the first sound for me.
Yeah.
The first thing the first kind of music I grew up listening to was East Coast music. So I instantly gravitated to like Tribe Called Quest and Busta Rhymes and just these different artists from New York right away.
Nice.
And then I just fell in love with Big, and that was just like, everybody's like, how you a LA girl? It's not that I don't like Tupac or have the love for Tupac. It's West Coast forever.
Yeah.
It's West Coast forever. Don't get it twisted. But my first love for music was East Coast.
Yeah.
You know, when I first picked it up. But I just knew, going back to your question, I just knew off top that this is what I wanted to do. I can't even explain. It's just a fiery passion in the pit of my stomach that I just knew I wanted to do that. And then just growing up, I just started finding ways to kind of make that happen for myself. I'm like, okay, let me start interviewing people.
Yeah.
Let me start studying like the OGs.
Yeah.
You know,
that helps.
That helps a lot. Let me start studying the OGs and really kind of tapping into the history. I'm all about going back and studying and learning the history of kind of where it started. So that's kind of where I'm at now. Like I feel like I've been doing it. I'm growing, you know, at my interviews and my YouTube series, and just really establishing myself as the old term, I guess, for it is VJ.
Yeah.
I still like that word, but so yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now.
I mean, coming back to your YouTube in a second, but also a lot of people, when they say that they're wanting to take a passion in music, they think of, like you said, just East Coast or West Coast.
Yes.
But growing up, having that influence from being in the West Coast, but also hearing the East Coast, that gives you a wide variety of what you need to be studying, what you listen to, the differences. Because you can start to hear the differences. If you listen to one set, if you listen to only East Coast, you're only going to pick up on East Coast stuff. But having both sides of the spectrum, that's important, of course.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Now, tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel.
So I have a series called Get Familiar. And the title speaks for itself. It's anybody I feel like you should get familiar with. I'm all about kind of discovering who's on the up and up. Everybody that knows Khrissy knows, like, she's, you know, I feel like low key I'm an A&R to some degree.
No low key, girl.
I feel like to some degree I'm like an A&R because I have sonically, I have a clear ear for music.
Yeah.
I have a clear ear for like what's hot. And Get Familiar it's just not artists, because everybody knows I always cover artists, but it's just a wide range of entertainment. Whoever's in the entertainment, who's breaking into the entertainment business, who you should get familiar with.
Right.
So that's what the series is. It's been a beautiful, you know, lovely journey with Get Familiar. I have interviewed some of our hometown favorites. We have some really dope up-and-coming artists by the name of Airplane James, Sham, Quincy White, Manchester, Kareem Grimes, who's actually, he plays on the series All American, if you guys are familiar with.
I knew that name. I was like, I've heard that name. Yes.
If you guys are familiar with All American, he plays on the series All American, which is also a show based on Crenshaw High School.
Yeah.
And just some real hometown LA natives, you know, who you should get familiar with.
Right.
So that's just kind of what I've been establishing. It's been growing. It's been a beautiful process so far.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times people look at music or interviews in general as wanting to get who's hot now.
Yeah.
You're taking it back and getting, as you said, getting familiar with these people who are important to know.
I want to get them before they blow up.
I was going to say, yes.
I want to get them before they blow up.
Yes.
Like, I think that's so important.
Yeah.
I feel like that's so important. I feel like that's one entity that's missing when it comes to interviews or just discovering artists. Everybody does want who's hot right now.
Right.
But it's so many talented people that are undiscovered.
Yeah.
We got so many talents, and that's where I'm at with it. That's where I come in. I want you now, so in a year from now, you know, you remember me, and then maybe we can circle back around.
That part. I mean, even looking at Nipsey, like Nipsey had that one, like he was known out here. He was known in LA. He was known in the Crenshaw district, but not many people knew him unless you were in this area. And so for a lot of people, when he first put out Victory Lap and all that stuff, it was like, this is new, and people are like, no, this is not
Victory
new.
Lap for him was that kind of like, I feel like was really his crossover more globally. He was even before Crenshaw, there's a lot of albums like the Crenshaw Project, the Marathon, there was mixtapes people knew him, but like you said, it was really us.
Yeah.
And we supported the hell out of him.
Absolutely.
We rocked with Nip. We sold them shows out. We were supporting the merch. Yeah. Like we're diehard Nipsey Hussle fans. And he had, and then he had just so much love from just different hoods and neighborhoods and Black, white, Hispanic, Asian. I mean, he literally covered that. And it's not many artists that can do that. That's why that's what made him so special to me.
Yeah. He was not reachable, but like reachable.
He was.
A lot of artists are not reachable these days.
And honestly, going back to you saying he's reachable, he was very reachable and tangible. Like you would see Nip at his front of his store on Crenshaw and Slauson. You can drive past there and you would see him right in front. You could pull over, you could stop, he would hug you. I feel like everybody got a picture with Nipsey.
Yeah.
If you ain't got a picture with Nipsey, I don't know.
I mean,
everybody got a picture with Nip because he was just his aura. That's the energy he gave. He showed so much love. Yeah, he showed so much love. So that's what made him such an amazing individual. And I feel like his spirit is still so vibrant. You could just feel the energy, especially here, like in our community. Like Nip, his spirit will never die. Never die.
And it's even so interesting to see how many people to this day, I mean, of course, him, Pop Smoke as well, who look up to them and still like,
he's another good one too.
I mean, his family coming out and saying that they still, of course, want to work with somebody like a Travis Scott. So hearing these influential people who are, of course, gone too soon, left still an impact on music for these up-and-coming artists to continue the legacy, not replace it.
Exactly.
But definitely continue into that legacy.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nip. R.I.P. Nip.
Rest in peace to Nipsey. Yes, for real.
When you're talking to these up-and-coming artists, what is the main thing that you really want people to know about them?
I always take it back to the roots. Like, what was that starting point for you? Like, what was your path? Like, what drove you to get to the point where you are now? I'm always like, take me back.
Yeah.
Take me back. I want to know. Take me back to when that interest sparked for you.
Yeah.
That made you wanted to get into the field that you're in now. So I always love getting the backstory on why is it, why are you doing what you're doing?
Right.
So I'm always about taking it back, getting the backstory, understanding the roots and the foundation of where you come from, because that's very important. So getting to know them is so important. Getting to know them as a person. And then, just taking me through the journey. And that's why that's exactly going back to why I want to kind of hit the kind of artists and the kind of caliber of artists I'm getting now. It's because they're going through it.
Right.
They're going through the process now.
Yeah. Still humble.
Exactly. That's a great word.
Very
Still
humble.
They're going through the process now. So it's a lot of ups and downs that come with that. And to me, that makes a great story. That makes a great story. So that's kind of where I will say I just love getting that backstory.
Yeah. Do you look back and remember your first interview?
I used to be a part of a show called The Only Hip Hop Show. This was back in like 2015, 2016. And I would say one of my first interviews, and I actually booked this interview, was with Glasses Malone.
Oh, wow.
With G Malone. If you know G, he is a West Coast OG.
Yes.
That was one of my really first and big interviews was Glasses, and I booked him for our show. And he came and he freestyled. He killed it. Wow. That was back in like 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
So I would say that was probably where people started kind of recognizing who I was, what I was into, what I was doing, and started establishing me as, okay, she's into this.
Right.
This is what she's doing. So I think I would say Glasses Malone.
That's a big one.
That's a big one. And I have it on YouTube. You can look it up on YouTube. It's on YouTube.
That's really big.
Yes, it is.
Now, what have you, taking that interview, of course, starting off big, what have you learned about just, your love for music throughout this course of your journey?
I want to do this for the rest of my life. Like, seriously. Yeah. I can't even explain how passionate I am about working in the music and entertainment industry. Again, it starts back just from when I was a teenager. Yeah, it does. And I'm willing to, first of all, I'm a student of the game first. Yeah. Like, I'm always willing to learn. And I know that you have to have tough skin also to work. Yes. You have to have very tough skin to work in this industry. Yeah. That's why I'm always willing to be placed wherever. As long as I'm still in this particular field, if you need me answering phones, I'm going to do that. Yeah. if you need me to run some errands, I'm going to do that, you know, but I feel like there's so many different things that you can learn.
Yeah.
You never know what that one position may take you.
Yeah.
So I always tell people, like, just be very open-minded, you know, where you put your big girl panties on.
No, for real.
Put your big girl panties on.
It's not an easy industry.
No, put your game face on.
Yeah.
Seriously, because it's not an easy industry. But I feel like it's really worth it at the end, especially when you get that one gig.
Yes.
When you get that one gig that you've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Work your ass off. If this is something that you really want to do, work your ass off and just, you know, and just get through it. I feel like it will come with consistency, always being open-minded, and always be a student of the game. It will come.
Yeah, I mean, consistency is definitely key, and you're going on year 5, right, of your event. So tell us a little bit about your foundation and your event.
Yeah, so it's women. So my event is Women in Music and Men in Music. Started in 2017, and it really, I knew I wanted to put on a platform where people could come get educated about how to break into the music industry.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I wasn't given that.
Right.
Coming from my era, there was no social media. You had to literally send, even back then it was like AOL dial-up or something.
Yeah.
It was real there was no technology.
Right.
It was literally, I had to go knock on doors.
Yeah.
You know, you had to write letters. You had to get out and connect because there was no Instagram. There was even really in my era, there was no MySpace.
Yeah.
This was before MySpace.
Yeah.
MySpace came, I don't even remember what year, but that was later.
Yeah.
So really, you had to write letters. You had to go buy magazines. You had to figure out on the back of the magazine who should you be emailing to kind of contact VH1 or whoever.
Yeah.
You had to really put in the work.
Yeah, definitely.
So I just feel like in my era, we weren't given the tools. We weren't given that. You had to really know somebody in order to get in the door.
Absolutely, and it wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy. So I want to be able to provide that platform for people to kind of get, first of all, the game and the gems from industry professionals. That's very important. We're right here. We're tangible. I'm in the same, like if you're in the same room with Steve LaBelle and you don't walk up to Steve LaBelle and shake his hand and say, "Are you hiring?"
Yeah.
There's a problem.
Yes.
You know, I'm just saying, because he actually was at one of my events. Steve LaBelle was part of the third annual Men in Music. And he even said, like, when he spoke, he said, "I cannot believe all the people that left after they performed, all the artists that left after they performed, or after their task or job was done, they left."
Right.
He said, "I cannot believe that they did not stay to hear this game."
Yeah.
Like, you're not serious about what you're trying to do.
At all. Like, you have to stay, whatever you're at, that networking is the most important.
And that's
even
what he was
saying. Even if you see somebody leave, I'm going to get up out my seat. I'm going to go walk with you to your car. We're going to have a conversation.
So really being able to provide the platform for people to kind of just have that one-on-one game from industry professionals. And it's a wide range from artist management for anybody that's in PR. I have DJs, I have radio personalities. Now, Clubhouse is booming, you know, of course there's Instagram influencers. So I have a lot of those entities at this year's event because from last year to now, the whole year has changed.
Right, absolutely.
Remember last year we were virtual, we were Clubhouse in it. It was Instagram Lives, it was virtual, it was Zoom.
Yeah.
So we turned into a real virtual era, I would say, quick, just due to the pandemic.
Right.
So I have a lot of people that thrive through that are going to be at this year's event. So it's just, year 5 has been so amazing. We're already halfway sold out, which is by the grace of God, like amazing. From panelists, from Watsomi Kwan, Fadia, Troy Marshall, My Guy Mars, DJ Head. I'm doing a one-on-one with Crooked Eye. If you know who Crooked Eye is, he's a West Coast legend. He was a part of a group called Slaughterhouse with Joe Budden.
Yeah.
He used to be a part of Death Row back in the day.
Yeah.
So he's like a West Coast OG. And then we have some performances from some of LA's emerging artists. I have Cyphers. Cyphers are so dope to me. Cyphers, if you've ever watched like the BET Hip Hop Awards, that's kind of what a cypher is for people that don't know what a cypher is.
They need to bring that on back.
I love that.
Yes.
I love that. So I'm bringing that element to the event, including the live performances. The goal is for it to just be a music conference. I want it to turn into a conference where you can come network, you can eat, drink, there's vendors, there's networking, you know, combination of entertainment and, you know, panels.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much what the event is in its entirety.
Now, for you getting started in this being, you know, an annual event at this point, what really continued to help drive you to make it bigger and bigger and bigger to where you're at now with it almost being sold out and the names of the people who are coming through?
You know, it's just all like just passion. I see it getting bigger and bigger every single year, and people are asking for it.
Wow, yeah.
People are like, even during the pandemic, unfortunately last year we couldn't do it, so I did some of the elements virtually through Zoom. But people have been inquiring, asking, like, you know what, last year's was dope. Like, when are you bringing that back? You know, so that also drives me, because people have come, they have met so many people. People have gotten jobs booked from meeting somebody at the events.
Yeah.
Producers, an aspiring producer has linked with a major producer who actually got signed. You know, I mean, it's just been so many great things that has happened during my events. And I constantly get like DMs and messages and text messages about how impactful it was for them. And that's really the goal. Like, I don't do it for the money.
Right.
I do it because I really want to put people in a position to kind of elevate their careers and to come and learn something.
Absolutely. And that's most important, especially, you know, the tools are here. And in LA, it's like if a hometown local is doing this for the community, why not, of course, attend? Where do you foresee it going in the next 5-10 years?
Oh, we coming for Revolt.
Oh,
we're coming for Revolt. Diddy, I'm coming for you. Because this is going to be the West Coast version of the Revolt Conference. Yeah. I'm speaking that into existence, and that's exactly what it's going to be. So just watch out. But that's exactly how I see it. Yeah. Like a 2-3 day event, you know, with a series of, I mean, I'm talking about everybody coming out, and not just the West Coast. I have love for all reach. I have love for the South. I have love for the East Coast. I have love for Seattle. I lived there for 7 years. I have love for any and everybody that's thriving and that really wants to do this. San Diego, wherever. I want us to all come. I want us to come together globally. Yeah. But I really want it to be the West Coast version of that.
Hey, speak it into existence.
Yes, I'm coming for it.
I mean, and even, you know, looking at somebody like a Diddy, connecting with a Diddy and say, you know what, give me those. And I think a lot of people, a lot of times people are too scared to open their mouth and say, hey, tell me how you did this.
I always say that closed mouths don't get fed.
That part.
Closed mouths do not get fed.
That part.
I can't tell you how I have bad anxiety. To know me is to know. I have such bad anxiety. But I have to fight through that. Yeah. You know, it's so much that lives on the other side of fear. Yeah. It's so much that lives on the other side of fear. And when you're walking by faith and not by sight, you have to have a really, really strong relationship with God to get through this. You really, really do. And you have to be certain and know that it's going to happen. Yeah. It may not happen on my time. It's gonna happen but it's gonna happen. Right. So you have to you have to have that mindset. You know, it's a lot of shit that happens where you could be discouraged and things happen, personal things happen. I have a kid, you know, at the end of the day, I'm a mother first. Yeah. So I have to be very responsible for my child first, regardless of how much I'm pushing my passion and how much I love doing what I'm doing. Yeah. I have to be there for her first. Yeah. So,
and the road is not always just
no, girl, please. Yes, for sure. It's not always like that, and of course you get discouraged. So just take your breaks and take your time off and put your lipstick on and go to it.
Make it do what it do.
And make it do what it do.
What would you say to those people who are just like, I don't even know where to start in my journey in music. I want to be in music, but where do I start? Because a lot of times now, given that the time we're in as well, imposter syndrome is very real. But it's not always a bad thing. People look at it as like, I'm copying, but it's like, my mom always tells me, if you go down the bread aisle, there's so many different types of bread. If one person said, there's already a bread, we would only be buying one bread. Exactly. So what would you say to that person who's like, I really don't know where to start?
That's a great question, because I was that person once upon a time. And it's all about kind of just writing things down. You have an idea of what you want to do. Yeah. So if it's for me, for example, if you want to curate an event, you have to really just do it. Yeah. Start with what you have. If you have $500, figure out how you can book a venue for maybe $200. Right. or who you know that has a space. You have to work with what you have.
Yeah.
You do. And then you have to just do it. There's no real formula to it. You have to just do it and work with what you have. Because you're not going to have all the resources. It's really trial and error.
Yeah,
it's really trial and error. But start with the resources you have now. Work with who you have in your camp or the people that you do have tangible. Because that's how my first event was. I had a free space. My homegirl had a clothing store. It was a clothing store lot.
Yeah.
We started in her lot. I connected with everybody I already knew that was in the industry. They did it for free. And it was like 250 people.
I was just going to ask that.
It was so big. It was a free event.
Yeah.
I was like, let's just do it.
Yeah.
I worked with what I had. You have to just start with all the resources you have. And then you know what? You learn from it. You'll be able to tweak and manipulate for the next time.
Right.
But start with what you have and just go for it.
Yeah. What are some of the lessons that you would say that you've learned along the way? I mean, going from having a free event to now almost being sold out.
It's so important to be organized and have a team. Like, it's so important to be organized. Like, I have a very, very small team of people. And by the grace of God, I have them. Yeah. Because now that it's growing, I feel like I need people in all, but I've been doing it by myself for so long. Yeah. But being very organized and having a team is so important. So that's pretty much what I've learned throughout the process, is being able to kind of delegate tasks. Yeah. You know, because everybody knows, like, I want it my way, how I want it. Like, I'm so selfish when it comes to that. I'll be like, no, I want it. But you have to relinquish control. Yeah. You have to be able to trust the people in your circle to know that they'll get the job done. Yeah. They're here for a reason. Use them.
Yeah. I mean, your circle is going to be your biggest supporters. They're going to be the ones who really push you to, like, I know, it's almost like they think for you.
Absolutely.
Because they've worked so long and
the people that I do have in my circle, that's exactly what they do. They know what I want, how I want it, and they're able to kind of just take it and run with it. Yeah. And it takes a lot of the stress off me.
Which is good. Because of course, running an event where there's so many moving parts, it's like you want to be able to focus on one thing and have those other people focus on everything else, as opposed to being a one-man band. Yes. Because a one-man band can go from real good to real bad.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I think that's the most important, especially with the success that your business is going to continue to have, to continue to build this team. Yeah. Now, with your business continuing to grow the way that it is, do you foresee yourself bringing people under you? Do you foresee yourself bringing in interns to really learn the game?
Girl, yes. Like, if y'all see this is my cry for help. This is it right now. But absolutely, yes, I would love to. You know, I want to build a real big team, honestly. I want to build a real big team of people I can trust and where we can work. I love being in a creative space where everybody has their different ideas that we can bring to the table, even hiring people. And I'm all about, I'm going to pay you for I'm going to pay you for your work, for your time and for your work. So I definitely don't even mind doing that. But I have a lot of people that that are starting, that want to come learn.
I was just going to say
like you said, like, what do you need me to do? Right. I love y'all too. So they really love the hustle and bustle of it.
Yeah, that changes the passion. Because if you have that person who's like, I'm not going to do it unless I get paid, it's like, okay, are you really, in it? But if you have those people who are like, I'm for the grind, I want to be here to learn. I want to sit back and watch. I want to see. Those are those people who are like, yeah, you're gonna go far.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people who just want the money. Yeah. And it doesn't work out good. It doesn't.
Yeah, it doesn't. Especially to me, if if you're not established to demand that. Yeah. Then how are you asking for a price when your resume doesn't reflect that?
Right. And that's what a lot of people forget. And you can be established with the wrong people.
Absolutely.
With the wrong team. Yep. And you come to a team that's excelling and you're like, well, I did this.
Exactly.
But all of that
doesn't
compare to what's happening now.
Exactly. I completely agree. But I'm all for it. I can't wait. And we're getting there now, though. It's getting there. And I have so many people that email me or DM me like, you need help. What do you need? Like, I'm like, you know what? You can come. Yeah. And I've always been so stingy with my brand just because it's my baby. Right. I want it to look and come out and thrive a certain way.
Yeah.
But I know I have to just trust the process.
Absolutely.
I really have to trust the people that I'm bringing in and following my intuition and going off of good energy and vibes.
Yeah.
And just letting go and allowing people to come in and help. And if you have a vision, if you see it a certain way, then you know what, I'm gonna let you do that. Cause I want this to grow. I want this to be about us. This is not me. This is us. You know, so I'm all for that.
Yeah, I mean, in LA, you know, like we said earlier, LA supports LA.
Yes,
just
absolutely.
As a whole.
Yes.
So to be able to have it and people just, you know, emailing you and wanting to be a part of it is so major.
It is.
Now, how can people find out how to get tickets, any information about how to stay involved and get in contact with you?
So my website is www.ninadeuce.com. So that's NINA-DEUCE.com. Nina Deuce is my platform. You can find everything on my website. Also, the tickets are on Eventbrite. So if you type in literally 5th Annual Music and Media on Eventbrite, it will come up. And honestly, this is a humble brag, but you could just Google.
Brag, girl,
Google,
brag.
honey. Just Google it. It will come right up.
Yes.
In the Google charts, even if you type in Khrissy B in Google, it will come. Everything just follows suit. So.
Absolutely. Well, I love to see Black girls shine.
Thank
Black
you.
Magic.
Me too. And
amazing.
you too.
Thank you.
We were just talking about Miss Alexis doing her thing. Yes. Like, congratulations
you.
to you and everything you're doing. Like,
Thank
you're
you
shining.
so
Seriously.
I appreciate
Yes.
it. This has been so great.
I agree. I agree.
I can't wait to see, you know, of course, the revolts, similar to Revolt, but out here, because it's needed.
It's needed.
It's definitely needed out here.
That's where I come in.
Yeah.
That's my lane. It will get there. This 5th annual is going to be so amazing. I'm really excited about who we have participating.
Yeah.
And to me, it's in Lamar Park, which was so important. Me and my best friend and partner Genice, we were like dying to have it in Lamar. We wanted Lamar Park so bad. It's just, it's Black community. It represents us.
Yeah.
That's the village.
Yeah.
And to have an event in the village is such a big deal. So I'm super excited about just the location in itself.
Yeah.
So yes, thank you to Regency West where the event is going to be held, and all the owners for just being so open to us coming in and taking over the venue. It's going to be great. It's going to be a beautiful day.
Well, y'all, get your tickets.
Get your tickets.
She said it already. Tickets are almost sold out.
Yes.
So you need to get your tickets as soon as possible. And of course, check her out on all of her platforms. We'll have it in the video as well. So thank you so much for being with us.
Yes, this was great.
Absolutely.
Thank you.